Hi, internship class. My name's Sam, and this is my final presentation for my internship at Enterprise this semester. Just a bit of an introduction. I graduate this semester on the 18th, and I'm super excited. I'm a communication major with a minor in management. I'm from the Florida Keys, and a fun fact is I've self-published 2 books. So I found out about this internship opportunity at one of the virtual career fairs that FGCU offers. I started in June. Enterprise has 2 types of locations, home city and airport locations. Home city locations typically deal with customers whose cars are in the shop or other insurance reasons, whereas at the airport, we deal with a lot of people on vacation. Enterprise also owns National and Alamo, so I work within the 3 brands wherever I'm needed that day. I've learned a lot of skills in sales, resource management, customer service, and operations. And my current supervisor, Allison Parembo, has been with the company since 2015, where she started as a management trainee, which is the position I'll hold when I graduate. She's also held various positions at airports and home city locations, even managing a local exotic branch. Once you pass the MQI, you become a management assistant or MA and are able to throw for various positions. The next step up would be assistant branch manager, then branch manager, area manager, and group rental manager. And while it may seem like a lot, these are all completely attainable. In fact, every group rental manager started as an MT at some point, so it's great to know that I have this amazing potential for growth. I've learned a lot at Enterprise, but there are 4 main outcomes to my learning: problem solving, fleet management, operation management, and flexibility. As some of you may know, there's been a car shortage in the US, and that's really been a struggle for car rental companies. For example, we may have 200 reservations for convertibles, but only 150 convertibles, and only 20 returning, so that means we're short 30. So what do we do for those 30 customers? As opposed to just turning them away and simply saying, sorry, we don't have your card today, we do our best to work with them. What other card classes do they want? What can we put them in? And how do we make this experience not only memorable, but positive too? And that leads into fleet management. If, for example, they did rent that convertible, my first thought may be to put them into a Jeep, which is a type of convertible. But we may be short on Jeeps in the coming days, so I'll want to avoid that. And I'll want to look to see what cars we have excess of that I can put them in that they'll still be happy in. As for operations management, there are 4 main stations in the operation: the front counter, the lot, the exit booth, and returns. And when you're at those various stations, you have to know everything about that. So for example, at the front counter, I have to be aware of the different liability protections we offer, as well as restrictions on credit cards and debit cards, and any problem shooting that comes with the system that we work with at the front counter. On the lot, we have to be able to tell the customers, for example, what the difference is between a Toyota and a Nissan, as well as be aware of the various features in the car and able to answer any of the questions they have concerning the cars. At the return lanes, you have to be able to check for damage and know where to check for damage and how to document it properly. And that leads into flexibility. Because the operation is so large, every day you're at a different station, and you may not be at the same station all day, so you have to be able to switch gears fast. So let's talk a bit about my supervisor, Allison Parembo. She began as a management trainee in 2015 at the Philadelphia airport and was later promoted to station manager, which is a type of MA. She transferred to Southwest Florida, where she was promoted to assistant branch manager for her high performance, leadership ability, and positive attitude, which I can attest to. There at that location, she raised the net profit by 12% at the location. She was then promoted to branch manager of an exotic brand, where she achieved a 94% 5 out of 5 customer satisfaction that Enterprise prides itself on. She then moved to the Naples airport, where she increased growth by 9.5% and also increased the net yield. She's been the branch manager at 3 other locations before she came to RSW, and as a branch manager, she's known for developing her team and has in fact led to 5 promotions and also received the top branch customer service for our local group in the area. Allison taught me a lot about teamwork and customer service and how to work with those customers that insist, no, they want a convertible. As for contributions, I've done a lot for the operation, but there are 2 that I'm mainly proud of. The first is training new interns and employees. When I'm at a station, sometimes I'll be asked to train one of the new interns or employees, and I do my best to show them not only the basics, but give them tips and tricks to set them up for success and to learn the various parts of that station. I'm also proud of my customer service. At Enterprise, we have what's called a CFL, or Customer for Life. And a CFL is when someone emails the operation saying, for example, Sam helped me today and she was really great. She pointed out the various cars in the class as well as help me pick the right one for me and show me the different features on the car. Overall, a great experience because of her. CFLs are few and far between, so I've only received 2, and while that might not sound like a lot, for an intern, it really is. This is simply because a lot of our customers are on vacation, and your first thought on vacation isn't to email the airport and compliment their customer service. I've also learned a lot about professionalism in my time at Enterprise, such as learning various skills, both transferable and specific to the operation, as well as learning information on the fly. Because Enterprise is a fast-paced job, sometimes you find yourself learning information a minute before you need to use it. I've also learned to work with those impossible situations. You're always going to have customers who are never happy with what you have, but you have to make sure they're completely satisfied with their experience. So, how do you turn what they consider a horrible experience into a great experience for them? And that leads into a yes mentality. I've learned to never take no for an answer and to keep striving and trying harder to achieve that yes. And a lot of what I learned at Enterprise can also be applied to my academic career. Communication, for example. We've all been on groups and teams with people who communicate very differently than we do. The same can be said for Enterprise, which is such a large operation. I have to be able to communicate with different people with different styles of communication and make sure we're all on the same page to make sure the operation flows smoothly. I've also had to learn to multitask. Sometimes 5 planes will land at once and you're inundated with customers. So you're having to work with multiple customers, walking one to a car, answering questions for another, driving a car around for another, wash, rinse, repeat. And in academia, sometimes you have multiple projects to do on the same day, and you have to be able not to spend too much time on one because then it eats up time for the other. Ultimately, my experience at Enterprise has been nothing but positive. I've learned a lot of life lessons, such as keeping that yes mentality and how to deal with impossible situations when 5 planes have landed at once and you have all the tough customers. I've also learned transferable skills, such as communication and resource management, as well as made great connections. An interesting thing about Enterprise is that no one goes to college to rent cars. In fact, a lot of my coworkers have really interesting college majors, one of them even being a healthcare major. Due to the fast-paced nature of the job and how quickly you can be promoted, a lot of people retire by the time they're in their early to mid-40s, simply because if you stay with a company for that long, you're probably already an area manager and there's not much more growth. So they leave Enterprise and transfer to another company, and you find yourself now with these connections to various industries. Ultimately, there are some rough days at Enterprise, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.